So this is Block 3, Session 1, Electoral Justice. It is really exciting to have this happen today. Yeah, it could not come at a better time. So it's really awesome that we have Hope here today with us to present. I will introduce her. She is the Executive Director of Voterise, and she's dedicated her life to public service and community engagement. Born a proud Utah native, Hope has traveled around the world to pursue her life calling of education and advocacy, from working for the U.S. House of Representatives in Washington, D.C., to interning with the British Parliament in London, UK, and back to Utah to aid local government entities. Perfectly aligning with Voterize's mission, Hope is devoted to advocating for extensive voter education, supporting inclusive legislation, and encouraging underrepresented groups to participate in the electoral process. She firmly believes that each vote has an impact, big and small, on every single person. And today, she's going to be talking to us about electoral justice, a more inclusive and vibrant democracy, through increasing voter registration and turnout among 18 to 29-year-olds and underrepresented groups. So with that, I will pass it over to Hope, and we can get started.
Well, thank you so much, Brenna. Can everybody hear me okay? I'm not, okay, perfect. WebEx, I never really know what's going to happen, so I'm so happy that it's working out today. Well, thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited to be here. I am able to share my, right? It should be here. Okay, perfect. Awesome. Well, we'll just go right into it then. All right, perfect. All right, so like Brenna mentioned, my name is Hope Zitting-Goeckeritz. I'm the Executive Director of Voterise. I just wanted to real quick introduce Voterise for those who don't know about us. So Voterise is Utah's only nonpartisan nonprofit organization with just one single mission, and that mission is to increase registration and voter turnout. As a 501c3, we're based here in Salt Lake City, but Voterise attends a lot of community events, presents in a lot of classrooms, and holds voter registration trainings all over the state. Now primarily virtual, as we've had to adapt like most people, but that's still ongoing. Our main target demographics are 18 to 29-year-olds and underrepresented groups. So that includes women, Black, Indigenous people of color, LGBTQIA+, impoverished communities, and others that have a historically and current low voter registration and engagement record. So, jumping right in, the reason you're all here, what is electoral justice and why is it important? This is directly from the International Institute for Democracy and Electoral Assistance. Who knew that was a thing? It is, because this is such a big deal. So, an effective electoral justice system is a key element in the unfolding of a free, fair, and genuine democratic process. Without this system to mitigate and manage inequality or perceptions of inequality, even the best management of electoral process may lead to mistrust in the legitimacy of the elected government. That's where you all come in. So I'm going to give a few different ways to participate in our electoral justice system. There will be a few that are more simple, others that are more advanced, really whatever you feel comfortable doing. It's just really important that everybody participates electorally because honestly, we can't call it a democracy unless everybody here is participating. So let's jump right in. There are so many ways to be electorally engaged. And every single one of these ways, there's not one that's better. There's not one that's, more of a priority, anything that you feel comfortable with. And every single one is part of the bigger picture. So one of the first that we recommend for people who want to participate and contribute to the electoral justice system is to volunteer or intern with organizations that are furthering the things and causes you care about. So whether that's voter engagement, or maybe you want to intern with the Sierra Club because you care about the environment, or maybe Best Friends Animal Society because you really love animals and their welfare. Everybody has something they care about. Everybody has their issue, and there's something for everyone. And on top of that, side note, it looks awesome on college and job resumes, and you do make incredible connections, even virtually, with people who want you to succeed. These people are going to be your advocates, and it's really important that you talk to people who care about the things that you care about and want to further missions of the things you care about. Another way is to donate to the causes and organizations you care about. Maybe you're really busy and you can only donate $5 a month to the Sierra Club or Citizens Climate Lobby, but you really care about the environment. I can tell you nonprofits really, really appreciate that, especially during the time of COVID. It really helps them further their mission, especially during a very uncertain time as well too. So everything's appreciated. All right, the third thing, this is a really big one too. Learn, research, educate. So if you're here, you probably know this, but misinformation and disinformation is a big deal, unfortunately, and it spreads like wildfire. So in order to protect our democracy, it's really important that when you post and share on social media, be careful and vigilant about where you're getting these facts. Make sure, whatever it is, that the info is factual. Research any candidates, issues, without a confirmation bias, using an array of nonpartisan sources. And a confirmation bias, for those who don't know, it's actually a psychological term. We as humans have a tendency to look for sources that confirm our inherent bias. So if I believe that this candidate is bad, I may, whether it's subconsciously or consciously, look for sources that confirm my bias that this candidate is bad. But it's really important that not only do we acknowledge that we have a bias, but to correct it. So that way we can all find the facts and truth of the matter. That's really what we're all searching for at the end of the day. So some nonpartisan sources that are really great. On the national scale, we have NPR, we have the Associated Press, which everybody's been looking at the map the past few days. So we know what the AP is now. BBC, like Brenna mentioned, I did used to work in London, and BBC, it's based out of the UK. So they have a very nonpartisan way of being an outside source of American politics and looking in. So it's actually a very good source. Reuters is another one as well too. On the more local level in the state of Utah, you have KUER and UPR, Utah Public Radio, which are affiliates of the national NPR. If you want to learn about political issues, maybe things you can find on your ballot or different things going on at the legislative level, you can go to the Lieutenant Governor's Office website. There's a lot of stuff there. And in terms of candidates, Voterise also has a nonpartisan personalized voter guide we send out to all of our registrants before every single election. So even though one just happened, we're gearing up for the next one. That's in August. So everybody mark your calendars. But it's really important to be engaged all year around. And again, as simple as this sounds, learning, researching, educating, it really strengthens our democracy because, like I said, misinformation and disinformation, it spreads like wildfire. And within that misinformation and disinformation comes a lot of baseless conspiracy theories, which can be very threatening to democratic processes. And Voterise, we are nonpartisan, but we will always take a stance when it comes to secure, fair, genuine voter processes, right? This now play out. And this is something that we expected. So it's important that we don't breathe life into these conspiracy theories because it does threaten the legitimacy of our democratic processes. And if we don't have legitimate election and democratic processes, it's kind of step one of the authoritarianism handbook. So it's really, really important. That sounds very alarmist, but in this age of incredible social media, we love it. It's a great resource, but we have to make sure that we're using it right. And if you do see something fishy online, do report it. You can report it. You can go to the top of the post, the 3 little dots, you can report it. It's important that independent fact checkers have that come to their attention. So again, as simple as it sounds, this strengthens our democracy. You do have to be vigilant. Okay, so another big thing, those 3 other things, those are things that you can do if potentially you're not eligible to vote. Maybe you're too young, maybe you're waiting a citizenship status, maybe you haven't acquired residency in Utah yet. That's why we want to give you options, because every single person here deserves the right to be electorally engaged. For those who are eligible to vote, I wanted to go over this real quick. Voterise has a platform actually that it takes less than 3 minutes on our website or through our texting line to register to vote. And it is available in 13 different languages and in all 50 states and DC. We have a walkthrough video for those who are more visual. They can follow along. You just will have to go to YouTube, type in how to register to vote in Utah, and we've got that covered for you. It's got some great music in the background as well too. So you're kind of like hopping along, you know, typing in, almost completing your civic duty. Again, takes less than 3 minutes. You can also hold voter registration drives to get your peers registered and pre-registered to vote. That's been very popular, especially before the deadline for the November election. We've done a lot of virtual drives where we would live stream that video that we created and have people follow along. And that can be in your Zoom classroom, during like a work meeting. Really, it's only a few minutes. In-person drives, we can actually mail you a voter registration kit if you were to volunteer with us, and that comes with some clipboards, highlighted voter registration forms, some stickers that say I'm registered to vote, because everybody loves stickers, right? And for those, you know, who may not be eligible to vote yet, that's okay. Encourage every eligible voter in your life to vote, because if not for themselves, then for you. I just wanted to go over some sad and some kind of good facts when it comes to Utah and voting record, especially with the younger population. In the 2014 federal midterms, only 8.1% of Utah's 18 to 29-year-olds actually voted. Yeah, that sucks. And that was less than the 19.9% national average. But since then, in 2018, we came out at about 16%. So it's definitely getting better. And we're seeing record turnout this time around as well, too. So lots of progress being made. 1 out of 10 voters were part of Gen Z in this election and contributed to the record turnout this year. Does everybody know that this year, more people voted than ever? That's incredible. And votes are still coming in, right? Because of absentee mail-in ballots. Awesome, right? Yes, I love the chat. That's super great, because the more people that participate in this way, again, there's so many other ways, but in this way specifically, we can see how tides change, whether it's one way or another. Because when more people actually show up to vote and their care about an issue translates to the ballot, it's really, really, really powerful. And 62% of eligible voters have never even asked if they're registered to vote. So that's why we've got to ask that we know. Not that I even have to tell you this, but every vote matters. You can see that right now currently with the 4th congressional district race in Utah, with Beck Adams, Burgess Owens. Right now, again, this is unofficial results, but it has varied so much and so closely. Just a few days ago, they were sitting at an 18 vote difference. And that was about 130,000 votes on each side. And then right now they're sitting at about 400 vote difference. And so it really is just such a fact that every single vote matters, especially in local races too. And I have a couple examples. In 2016, a Utah State House race was won by only 5 votes. You can't tell her that your vote doesn't matter. And in 1980, another state house race was won by just 1 vote. Wouldn't want to be that guy. And it happens all the time too. We need your vote and your voice, and you want to have a say in the decisions that affect your life, and register to vote, and then vote, right? Because registering to vote doesn't really do much unless you show up. So another way to participate in the electoral justice system, this is a really big one, is to know and use your rights. For example, felons can vote in the state of Utah. A lot of people don't know that. This is a state-by-state law. Felons can vote in Utah, as long as they're not currently incarcerated, because we need an address other than the prison or jail. But they can be awaiting parole, probation, out on bail. Yeah, they can vote, absolutely. Currently, homeless Utahns can vote as well, too. If they're not residing at a shelter, then they can actually use the cross streets of where they sleep at night as their physical address. So maybe they're sleeping at the corner of 2nd West and 3rd South. They can use that on their voter registration form. And if they are residing at a shelter, they can have a by-mail ballot sent to them. You can pre-register to vote at as young as 16, which is really, really cool. It's kind of out of sight, out of mind. And then once you're eligible to vote, you'll get a ballot in the mail automatically. If you are 17, but will be 18 on or before general election day of that year, you can still vote in the primary elections. So for example, this year, my sister, she turned 18 in August, but she was 17 during the March presidential primary and 17 during the June state primary. But because she turned 18 before November 3rd, she could still be 17 and vote in those elections. And this is true for every single year. Another big thing is to know your rights. This is actually, this is something that the ACLU of Utah and the ACLU nationally came up with, just educating people on their rights as people here in the US. And if you go to ACLU, Know Your Rights, you just type that into Google, there's a huge list, long list of different things that you need to know your rights about that may affect you. For example, anti-discrimination laws, that's a big one. Becoming an effective community lobbyist, or immigrant and refugee rights. Knowing your rights as an immigrant or refugee, so important. You can even see there that graphic on the right. They held a training about protest rights for students specifically, and they do this a lot. And even if you can't attend a live stream, some of them are recorded, but they do have these graphics that are just very succinct and to the point. Another thing that you can do as well is to email, text, call your local and federal representatives to tell them where you stand on issues. It's really important that we hold the people that represent us, because it's in their name, representative. We want them to represent us. We need to hold them accountable. We need to make sure that they care about the things we care about. So it's really important that we follow along with what they're doing. Being an engaged person and being an engaged lobbyist, it's not just a few months before election day. It's year round. And if it's any consolation, your tax dollars buy them the phones that they use for calling and texting as a representative. So why not call or text them? Again, they are a public servant. Don't be scared of them. They're just humans, and they have a responsibility to care and protect you and your family. So it's important that you communicate with them where you stand on issues. And you can find a list of your representatives on the Lieutenant Governor's site, as well as if it's federal, then honestly, you can just put your representative's name into Google and it will come up with several different phone numbers. So it might be a DC office number and then a few Utah office numbers and then email addresses. But it's really important that we communicate with these people, with our representatives, to know, hey, you represent me and my family. I need you to care about the things I care about. This is really important to me. Another thing as well, too, is to exercise your First Amendment rights. Anybody can do this, right? You don't need to be a naturalized citizen. You don't need to be an eligible voter. Exercise your First Amendment rights. If you're here in the US, that is inherent. The First Amendment right of the US Constitution, right? Making sure that you can protest and you can peacefully assemble. It's really important, especially, there's a lot of things going on right now currently. There were a lot of things going on in the summer, but there are things that are going to keep on going on. Just because an election happened doesn't mean these social justice and electoral justice situations are going to stop, right? It's ongoing. And so that's why it requires your ongoing attention. That being said, another way you can participate electorally, I didn't put this in here, but I need to point this out, is to take care of yourself, right? Self-care is a very, very big thing, and it's a big deal, and it is necessary. And you can be your best advocate for others in the community when you take care of yourself. And that might be, just meditating for 10 minutes or taking a bubble bath or maybe shutting off Instagram for 10 minutes or just maybe throwing your phone and not touching Twitter, whatever's best for you, whatever helps to ground you and help you be present is really important because unfortunately, activism burnout is a real thing. So I want to say you can perform your best in the electoral justice system if you are at your best. And sometimes that even means being so angry about something that's happening nationally that self-care for you is writing an angry letter, but a valid letter to your representatives. That can be self-care too. So it's very important that we make sure, to ground ourselves so then we can be our best and can help others as well too. So in summation, we need your voice. You can make a positive impact. Get involved. And these are your action items. All the things that I mentioned before, the ways you can participate, but you can also volunteer, donate, sign up for newsletters for organizations so you know what's going on, especially during the state legislative session. Usually if there's bills that affect those organizations, they'll have newsletters to let you know what's going on, and share facts. At the end of the day, I promise it's worth it. All I have for you. If you want to know more about Voterise, then that's our website. You can always shoot me an email if you're interested in maybe volunteering or, if you want to know more about other organizations. We have about 20 community partner organizations, and that ranges from the ACLU of Utah to maybe Utah Pride Center to the International Rescue Committee, and everything in between. So if you'd like to know more information, you can shoot me an email as well too. But that's all I have for you. So I can stop sharing the screen and I'm happy to answer questions if anybody has anything.
Yeah, you guys can go ahead and unmute yourself if you want to ask your questions or share them in the chat. We'll stop recording, so this will all just be between us.